sure my head isn't on the video. To the back of Ria's head all the way through. They were getting trouble. They just happened to be in there. Now, they're doing was official because they just stepped out of the and there's nobody, there's nothing
You're all going quiet now. A hum of anticipation. Here we go, side 2.
Green and gold can go the rest.
It's on.
He's on it. He's on it.
My hat will be on the corner.
Right, we had beautifully rehearsed something for this, and we're not going to do what we beautifully rehearsed from the start because Ray planted an idea in Marina's head. Ooh, that's a tune.
This is a little past there. It was about the Upton upon set to six dance and Golden Matlet, and I love that set, so we'll play that instead, shall we?
Apparently.
These are some English jigs.
G, D, A, G, D, A.
I think so.
We'll find out as we go. Yeah.
It's in the key of what?
1, 2, 3, go. Come on.
read these things together, and sometimes one of us will do something the others haven't heard, and I'm going, ooh, that's nice. Never read that one before. Yeah, good to surprise each other. So, yeah, back to the beer, which is a familiar cry in our house. So, this is Shuggy Boat Blonde. Now, I know what a Shuggy Boat is, but it's surprising the amount of people you come across who haven't got a clue what a Shuggy Boat is, or mostly was, let's face it. My first memory of Whitley Bay was I was brought up here on a school trip in about 1975, and it was a hot summer, and I just remember being sat near the dome in Whitley Bay on this beach. Was just rammed, absolutely rammed, and it was school term time, so it must have been before Glasgow Week and all the rest of it, when it would have been really rammed. But yeah, those Shuggy boats, and I'm told, I've still got to find this, there was a mechanical elephant that used to walk up and down the sands on Whitley Bay, almost like a motorised wind-up thing. And there had been no reported photos of this thing. There's no evidence of it ever existed, but somebody did drag up an old black and white photo of it about 10 years ago, and you can find it on the internet now. And it was about half size of a real elephant, and they used to ride children on its back, and it would just by itself walk up and down the sands, a bit like riding on a donkey, but a mechanical elephant, yeah. Now the folklore about that goes that when it's sort of stopped, out the end of its life, it's supposed to have been buried underneath the road somewhere, near the dome. So one day, archaeologists will get a nasty shock. An elephant with bits of mechanics inside it, what the hell were they thinking of? But anyway, this isn't about elephants, this is about Shuggy boats. And it's one of those things again, when you're writing poems about beer titles, and the beer is called Shuggy Boat Blonde, so at some point I've got to weave in the fact it's a beer as well. But yeah, Shuggy boats. And I had a conversation with somebody a couple of years ago on the folk circuit, and he was like, when those blokes get to a certain age, we start moaning about everything. Why aren't things as good as they used to be? All of that rubbish. So this guy was moaning about the fact that Shuggy boats aren't at the beach 24/7 anymore. And he was genuinely having a right, and that's the council won't even leave the Shuggy boats out overnight, that's disgusting. And somebody had to go, where were the Shuggy boats? At what point? And have you seen how far the tide comes in now? They might just be swept away twice a day until you get sick of replacing them. So anyway, enough of that. This is Shuggy Boat Blonde. Tynemouth colour coats Whitley Bay, this coast of kings and giant ice creams, of Spanish city queens, Shuggy boat dreams, of bulging creels and sun-blanched days, of crumbling cliffs and raging seas, kiss me quick hats and gizzard squeeze, shipwrecks, settlers and tourists, toddlers running wild on sand, evading mollycoddlers. Hear the creaking of Shuggy boat ghosts, to and froing in the sun. Part your lips and taste the truth of the coast. Blondes do have more fun. So we come now, or we will do, after I finish this poem, to my favourite tune on the album. This is it doesn't matter how you dress this up, this is a drunken tune, this. And it's called, and so is the poem, well obviously it's named after the beer, Porthole Coffee Porter, which is a hell of a title to get your head around. But I kind of thought, well, you know where the porthole used to be on the Fish Quay? The ferry landing end of the Fish Quay was a pub called the Porthole. It's housing now, isn't it? I think it's been converted into flats. And it had portholes for windows. And it was I hope I'm not offending anybody, it was a bit of a rough old place. Because they've hoovered the Fish Quay now, haven't they? You can have lovely times down there now. Wasn't always like that. So it's kind of all down there, of course, half a mile up, you've got the Black Middens, with the rocks that stick, low tide, that stick out over the top of the water, and at high tide are perilously just underneath, which is what wrecked half of the shipwrecks, was colliding with those things. So I kind of thought, if you're around there anywhere, there's a swirl of the water when the rocks are just underneath, and the water looks darker, it looks black. And I thought, well, that's what I thought of for this poem. But then, the genius that these two are, they came up with this drunken tune for it, which I just love. When they start playing, just picture old Geordie trying to wend his way home from the pub. And he's a bit like this. You know that kind of slightly off-balance walk? That's what the tune is in my head. So, the poem's totally unrelated, but anyway. Porthole Coffee Porter. Shine a light through the porthole, bottomless, dark, as the midden's jagged granules coffeeing the river. The allure of the ale, her whirlpool swirling, singing like a siren to a stone-stalk Collingwood. His old eyes see sailors, seesawing in the waves, pulled in like a magnet to a raw steel bench. Shine a light through the porthole, feel the pull of the tide, and taste a millennium deeper than time. Poor old Geordie, all he wants to do is find his way home to his bed. But he's got one leg, one foot glued to the floor, you know that? He's doing his very best and wondering why the scenery's not changing. Right, we move on now to a guy who was one of the crewmen who rescued the crew of the lovely Nelly up by the lighthouse, pulled the boat over the land, etc. He was called John Chisholm, a key member of the lifeboat crew, but nobody called him John Chisholm. They gave him a nickname because I know we're in the presence of God and everything. You might cover your ears. He was a bit of a bugger. Was John Chisholm. He loved practical jokes and being cheeky and saying stuff that was inappropriate. I don't know why I see him as a like-minded soul, but there we are. So his crewmates all knew him as Jack the Devil, which is a great nickname, Jack the Devil. So the good folk at Cullercoats Brewery named one of the ales after him. So this is Jack the Devil. I would have loved to have met him, shook his hand. They were remarkable, those people. Jack the Devil. A roaring sea requires a lion heart to tame it. Up steps such a man to the bow of a boat. An answer to the call, a line out to the lost. An arrow flying righteous to the arm of a storm. A strong arm out to the drowning. A pull from the brine up to fresh air. A charge to dry land and the making of legend. Heaven holds an angel dressed as a devil. A cackle and a shrug and a beer for a man who battled death and won. Right, we come now to one that's named after the owners of Cullercoats Brewery. If you're going to brew a beer, you might as well name one after yourself, mightn't you? So this is called Old Scantlebury. Very briefly, Cullercoats Brewery was formed and is still owned from St Oswald's Drive in Cullercoats by Bill and Anna Scantlebury. Bill, and especially both of them, were real ale enthusiasts from years gone by. And Bill was a practicing lawyer. And I forget what Anna's job was now, but she was a lawyer too. That's right, yeah. Oh yeah, she did children's music stuff, didn't she? But yeah, she'd been a lawyer. So they were fans of real ale, and they were sat in the Queen's one night in winter, and they were sat drinking whatever the Queens were serving up, and they had this conversation about the stuff we brew is nicer than this. And Bill said, I wonder if we could make a business out of doing it and be able to move away from what we do and just have a brewery. So they kind of pursued it from there, they kind of pursued the dream. And what I'm interested in really is around there, around the Queens, across you all know this area, if you sit around there on a summer's day or in a winter's day in the pub, I just think you can kind of, there's so much history around there, it almost comes up out the floor at you. You can feel where stuff used to be. You know, you're just over the road from Simpson Street with the remnants of the old cottages that were there, the fishermen's cottages, and all of that stuff was decimated by Mr. T. Dan Smith, I'm afraid, who did have planning permission for a multi-storey tower block on the cliff top, and thankfully went to jail first. He wasn't alone, to be frank. It was quite common, that stuff. But anyway, so this is about sat around the artist colony, and if you're somewhere like this, like I say, the history kind of if you just sit quietly, you soak it up in a way. So that's what this is about, Old Scantlebury. It's unusually long for me, but we'll whip through it before you fall asleep. Isn't it amazing the things you can see from a bank top table when the coast is clear and the pull is strong? Peering deeply past the bottom of your glass, stare tomorrow in the eye, rap on its door with a brew, then 2, 3, more, until the taste swims like a lifeboat rescuing the thirsty. Up through the cliffs, round the ghost of Front Street, to the echo of the wives singing, buy me fresh fish, hopping over wagon rails, tippy-tapping down these hush quiet streets, the sun hiding shy behind its cloudy accomplice. Tripping down lesser walked paths, they nurtured the echoes of those lobster pot fish lasses, all late night gassing over candlelit nets, needles and knuckles, gansies and fish hooks. Talk of catching the tide, change coming on the wind, and how nought lasts forever. But some days, if you stop, squeeze your breath tight as a bulging creel basket, close your eyes and sup, you can catch yesterday up. Alive and bright silver, dancing like a mackerel on a fisherman's best line. that area of old colour coats. One of the local historians told me about 5-6 years ago, I was talking to him, and he was saying that when they shut down the Newcastle Arms, which was around there, I mean, that was really, was it 80s that went? Late 70s, 80s, the Newcastle Arms finally went. But anyway, he said when they pulled it down, because it was falling down, I think, but they opened up the cellar door, which had been nailed down for donkey's years. And you know that whole area is where the wagonway was. When the prize opened the cellar door, there were the wooden rails on the floor of the cellar running through the place. Wooden rails are still there. Prized them up and burned them. What a sin, eh? There we are. So we move on to the last tune and last poem on the album. Thank you so much for coming out in the middle of winter. I say winter because this is Watch House Winter Warmer. See, we don't just make this stuff up on the spot, you know. Yes, we do. So the Watch House Winter Warmer, I always think the Watch House is lovely, and it's brilliant that they look like they're getting the wherewithal together to preserve it. They've got. I'm not going to get involved in the arguments because you might be riven in the room on it. There's all sorts of social media warring going on at the moment because the funding is being promised on the condition that the snooker table goes, and some of the lifeboat lads are saying that's our only form of entertainment. We're on a night. You've taken it out. We're not going to do it anymore. So they're all at war with each other. Oh God! So this isn't about that. But one of my favourite things about living here is in the winter it's quiet. I mean, Cullercoats isn't a tourist haven anyway, really. Not like the time up in Whitley Bay is. We're kind of sandwiched in the middle. But it's busy during the summer. In the winter, it's just nice and quiet. And I kind of used a bit of imagination really for Watch House Winter Warmer. And I kind of imagined like an older couple going in, having the key to the watch house and going in on a night time and leaving the lights off and just sharing a bottle or two between them and just sitting and looking out to sea. So that's what this is about, Watch House Winter Warmer. I'll meet you at the watch house when the temperature drops, and we'll warm to the dance of the berries and the hops. We can listen for the echoes of fishwives hauling creels, the launching of the lifeboat, the tractor's trudging wheels. We can drink in the peace of a village gone dark, the flashing of the mackerel just a memory's distant spark. We'll keep the lights down low, watching ships go by, and you can dream your dreams, and I'll dream mine. We'll keep the lights down low, watching ships go by. You can dream your dreams, and I'll dream mine. join me for introduction, Living Fiddle.
Very nice. We have, if you want to relive this entire experience, it's there, which has got all the poems in and
And the music.
and everything. It's all there, so you can.
Thanks so much for coming out on a horrible
Yeah,
night.
Yes, it's a bit chilly out there.
Stay around and enjoy the beer and have a chat.
Yeah.
And if you buy a book and wanted to sign it to decrease its value, we'll do that as well.
Didn't sign mine.
No, he did a